Hello, welcome to this Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. This is the Age of Sigmar Stat Center, where we look at the event results from all around the world. This weekend is very exciting because it features 432 players playing two-day Age of Sigmar events this weekend. This doesn't count team events. It doesn't count narrative events. It doesn't count one-dayers. So it's very possible that we had several hundred people playing Age of Sigmar just this weekend alone. So if you are an Age of Sigmar fan or someone thinking about jumping into Age of Sigmar, it's a good time. With that said, we've got events from 10 different countries: Philippines, Austria, Sweden, Canada, New Zealand, Netherlands, France, Spain, Canada, and USA. It's worth noting, because I record my intros after I've done the review, which has taken me a couple of hours now, that definitely Courage and Overlords are a little bit too good, and they feature heavily over the course of all of the 5.0s this week. It's also worth noting as well, Cities of Sigmar pop up a lot, both of which I've covered in stat shows, and both of which at this stage definitely, clearly need looking at in a balance update to come as well. It's also worth noting as well that our first event is based in the USA, and the list names start getting a bit spicy straight off the bat, which is quite fun. So let me know what your thoughts are on those in the comments below. Let's go look at that event now, the Nova GT. And before I do, I want to say a special thank you to Warhammer Rob for bringing me all the great stat info. The first event we're going to look at is our largest and the biggest of a while. Nova AOS GT had 120 players in the US of A. Specifically, it takes place in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, a place currently occupied by the National Guard. Pretty insane. I absolutely would not go to an event there. 100%. Anyway, let's go look at the event results. Because there were 8 games being played at this event, and there was also a top 8 cut. There ends up being some very weird kind of results. Like, shout out to Tucker, who came 8th but lost 4 games. Not to pick on Tucker. Whereas if we kind of scroll down here, and we can see that 18, Rudy only lost 2 games. So I'm just going to kind of pick the stuff out that kind of makes sense based on the amount of games you won or lost. That's going to be my system. So hopefully that's good enough for everybody. But 8 games of Warhammer is insane. I hope everyone had a good and, most importantly, very safe time, because that's really important to me. Love everyone in the Warhammer community. The system I've decided on is I've chosen from the top, I don't know, 20, the people who've got the most amount, like least amount of losses. So everyone who I'm about to read out has either got 0 losses, Fabian Barboos, the only one, or everyone else only got 1 loss, and 1 loss and a draw in the case of Mike and also Gavin. That's my system, and I'm sticking with it. Also in this system, there's the least amount of Gargants, which is a great system. Although, if we do look at the top 8 cut for a moment, we had Fabian Barboos with Cities of Sigmar, Jeremy Vissier, amazing player with Courage and Overlords, Caleb Walters with Disciples of Tzeentch, Dylan Thoreau with Cities of Sigmar, Walter Brock the Eternal with Flesh Eater Courts, Michael Sabetti with Sons of Behemoth, Victor with Sons of Behemoth, and then Tucker with Stormcast Eternals. So Sons of Behemoth were the only army to feature, one of only 2 armies to feature twice in the top 8. The other one was obviously Cities of Sigmar. So congratulations to all of those players. Now, if we look at everyone who kind of went undefeated, we have Fabian Barboos, the only undefeated player at Nova. Incredible, very tough field. Don't forget, the USA are currently the world team champions. So you got to describe it as a tough meta. That's the only fair thing to say. 120 players with some of the better players in the country in attendance. This is an incredible result for Fabian, and they should be really proud of themselves. So his list is called It's Not Broken, It's Just Creatively Efficient. And yes, it would look cooler without dwarfs, but here we are. So he was running Cities of Sigmar, Fearless Exemplars, and he was running Master of the Path and Scepter Recover. He had Pontifex and Estra, the soggy version, a Fusel Major on Ogre Warhawk, a Frigo Command Corps, an Ironwell Great Cannon, Frigo Cavaliers, a Reinforce unit, that's important to point out. Then we have Callus and Toll. Then we had a Frigo Marshal and Relic Envoy, ×2. And then we had 2 Frigo Command Corps, then a Battle Mage, and then the Regiment of Renown. Oh no. The Regiment of Renown, the Skyport Profiteers, which turn off ward saves and teleport people around the board. I think a lot of people a little salty about this Regiment Renown currently. Very, very effective. But a massive congratulations to Fabian. Again, it's worth pointing out that's an amazing, like, once-in-a-lifetime result. Although Fabian consistently plays and does very well in events, that's still something that's like, I won Nova this year. 120 people, only undefeated player. It's an incredible result. You should be really proud of yourself. That's brilliant. Right, into the only lost one game section. We got Jeremy Vissier with a list called Freedom Isn't Free. Costs folks like you and me. And if we don't all chip in, we'll never pay that bill. Freedom Isn't Free. No, there's a hefty price you'll face. And if you don't throw in your $1.05, who will? Oh, $1.05, $1.05. Freedom costs $1.05. Jeremy also French. Well, at least in like ancestry. So a little bit of revolutionary heart in him, never able to leave. Anyway, he was running a list called $1.05, which was a Carriage and Overlords, Pioneers, and Scavengers list with Master of the Paths and Restless Energy. He had Brock Grungson, and then he had the Soggy Grunstock Gun Hauler ×2. He had 2 of the Von Grimm Harpoon crew. Then he had a Code Right, an Archanaut Frigate, a unit of Skywardens, and a unit of Volgrim Salvageers, all with the Endrin dock. Jeremy is easily one of the most successful and also best players I think I've ever seen play Warhammer. So KO, obviously very good at the moment, very successful. But again, a 7-1 is a great result for someone so talented. Dylan Thoreau was running Cities of Sigmar. He got 1 loss as well. He was running a list called, I'm quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away with blood. I had, as I now think, vainly, flattered myself, without very much bloodshed, it might be done. General Handbook 2025. Okay, so he was running Cities of Sigmar, Fearless Exemplars, and he was running Master of the Paths and Wrathful Cycles. He was running a Steam Tank commander called John Brown. He had a Soggy Pontifex Sinestra with Callus and Toll and Toll's companions. And I was commenting this weekend, actually, how it's crazy that Callus and Toll have only ever gone up 30 points. They're incredible. Like, if you painted them a year and a half ago, the value town that you've got, 11 out of 10. Anyway, he was running a Freeguard Martian Relic Envoy, Fusion Major on Ogre Warhawk, some Fusiliers, a Reinforced Unit Cavaliers, a Battle Mage, and 3 Command Corps. So I think maybe the Fusiliers are a little bit new. I don't remember if he was running them before, but either way, great list. City's still very good. Then we have Kenneth King, who was running a list called Gavin Grieger is correct, or it's his fault. He was running Gore Chosen Champions, running a Unity Ground and Wrathful Cycles, and he had a Mighty Lord of Khorne, a Blood Secretor, 3 Deathbringers, a Slaughter Priest, 3 Deathbringers, Slaughter Priest, 2 Deathbringers, 3 Bloodstokers, 2 Skull Grinders. Now, this will have been with the un-FAQ'd Khorne Army of Renown. It got an FAQ only on Wednesday. I did a video about that. Many of you watched it. Thank you very much. Many of you, yeah, so it was really good. But I also had the Khorne Army of Renown play this weekend at my event, so I will have some information about that post the nerf. But the quick TLDR is, I'm pretty certain it's incredibly playable. So if you are loving the idea of running a bunch of heroes like this, then I think you absolutely can do it. I would probably change it so that it gets a 5-up ward save against... It gets a 6-up ward save, which it currently gets while it's in combat, but a 5-up ward save while not in combat. So like shooting a magic, it will maintain that 5-up ward save. But I still think it's a very playable army and a very fun army. So that's worth saying, I think. So Mike Maccabee was running an army called This Army is Awful, which was a Hedonites of Slanesh list with Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy. He had Glutos or Skollion, 2 units of Simbramesh Twin Souls, Sigvald and a Soggy Slangor Fiendbloods, which was reinforced, 2 more units of Fiendbloods, which again are awful, a Shard Speaker of Slanesh, a Bliss Barb Archer unit that was reinforced. So I said this last week or 2 weeks ago when Mike took this to a smaller GT and was able to do really well with it. I honestly am shocked how well this is doing. I think this is pretty interesting. He won 6 games and he got a loss and a draw against probably a very tough build. But the Scorching Garan Fiendbloods are obviously very effective compared to what they once were. So that's interesting. And Gavin, super lovely fella, running a list called the Khorne Army of Renown is not great and Obscuring Rules are ass. 2 things that he believes. So he is running a Cruel Boys Uruk Warclans list with Scouting Force and Master of the Paths. He had the Soggy Killer Boss and Great Gnashtooth, still my favorite War Scroll, I think, at the moment in the game. Marsh Crawler Sloggoth, 3 units of Monster Killers, a Swamp Caller Shaman, 3 more units of Monster Killers, and then a Merc Knob with Belcher Banner and 2 reinforced units of Gut Rippers, and then a Killer Boss with Stabgrot and Manskewer Bolt Boys in the list as well. So Cruel Boys did well over the course of this weekend, but they, as pointed out, didn't do super great. Now, Nova is interesting because of its pod system, where they break people out after, I think it's 5 or 6 games, to play potentially more games, which is pretty exhausting. If anyone's ever played a 2-day GT, playing another 3 games after that, I'm sure most people would find a little bit much. But many of these people are very practiced, and it's a very Americanized way of doing these large events where many of these players will have been flying in and spending a large amount of time with their friends over the course of the weekend. So I hope they all had a great and safe time, and I hope we see events like this continue to grow and the community continue to grow as well. Our next event takes us to Canada for the Northern Waste GT, organized by Conan, Damon, Grayson, Josh, and Robin, all taking place in Prince George, Canada. Worth pointing out, it's a very Canadian event because it took place in the curling club located here, which is a pretty fantastic time. So Canadians love their curling. Now, the lists are pretty interesting. We do have Carriage and Overlords, who are great. Right now, KO, both in spot 1 and 2. But a bit of a surprise, we've seen Slaves to Darkness, and then Carson, again, the one-man ogre show up there. Iron Jaws, Blades of Corn, KO, Slaves to Darkness, and Skaven. So I would be I'm not surprised by most of those results, but Slaves to Darkness, Iron Jaws, and Ogres are a bit of a surprising result. And obviously, we do have a bit of a Cities of Sigmar, Carriage and Overlords, kind of Cruel Boys dominance in Age of Sigmar at the minute, which I covered on the last stat show. So I'm not surprised to be seeing those in there. We've gone from some revolutionary list names at the American GT to the list names available in the Canadian GT are a little bit more slapstick. For instance, Matthias, who's a great player and won the event and went 5-0, his list is called, I mean, they're literally powered by the hot gas of their god. They drop bombs on people as they fly by and propel themselves with giant metal balls. Do I have to say it? What's that I do? Then a smiley emoji, fine. Another smiley emoji with what seems to be sunglasses and little fingers. And then some sunglasses emoji. And then the word farts. So it's very different energy that we're getting here up in Canada. So worth pointing that out. Anyway, he's running Carriage and Overlords with the Pioneers and Scavengers. And he had Restless Energy and Master the Paths. With Brock, an Arcanaut Frigate, 2 reinforced units of Skywardens, some Volgren Salvagers, Engine Master with Engine Harness, an Arcanaut Ironclad, and 2 Von Grimm Harpoon crew. And then the Zontari Endrin Dock, which is worth its weight in gold because it's little units. So KO, very good. I think I spoke to a bunch of KO players this weekend. What do I think needs to be done about KO? I think they need to lose a unit. I think the only problem with KO is their points. They're a little too cheap. That's what I think the situation is. So they could afford to lose a unit. Maybe their list costs roughly about 100 to 200 points more. And then I think we'd end up with a pretty decent book that's not too overcooked. Pendleton Cox, who went 4-1, was also running Carriage and Overlords. He ran a list called What's That in the Sky? Is it Leo's list? Is it Tom's list? No, it's my list because it's totally different and unique. He was running a Rapid Redeployment Squadron Carriage and Overlords army with Brock, a Frigate, an Ironclad, 2 of the Soggy Gun Haulers, an Engine Master, an Arcanaut Company, and 2 units of Skywardens. It's pretty fun if you play any other game system and someone asks you what's good in the game right now. It's like, well, a couple of soggy gun haulers, and there's also a soggy lady for Cities of Sigmar. She's a bit good. Then we got Dana Bray. Well, the list called That Ready to Die Shit. It was I. You know what I'm saying? That shit was it was cool. But my shit is J Moore, John Blaze that. I got John Blaze shit, and they not respectinizing, they not saying. He was running Slaves to Darkness army. I will commit to read anything that gets put up here. I've decided. Okay. He's running the Slaves to Darkness Legion of the First Prince list with Incept and Recover and Master the Paths. With Be'lakor, Legion of the First Prince, Blood Crushers, and then 2 reinforced units of Bloodletters, and then a reinforced unit of Flamers, Eternus, and some Chaos Furies. Now, this is a pretty unique army, but not the first time we've actually seen the Legion of the First Prince army do okay. Dayton previously was running a lot of Khorne, a lot of Bloodletters, so he'd have had those available to him. So I wouldn't necessarily encourage anyone to jump into this like combined demons army at the moment in the game, because we're not really sure about how long that is going to be an army that you're going to be able to play. Definitely for the next year and a half of Age of Sigmar, but after that, not sure. But Dayton's definitely got those models. He's also a wonderful human being from his toes to his head. So great to see him doing really well on a 4-1. Carson Whitlock, another great human being, was running a list called Bombastic Beef Squirts, which was an Ogre More Tribes, Warpath Menaces list, running Aetherwrought Machineries and Restless Energy and Master the Paths, with a Slaughtermaster and a unit of Noblars, a Butcher, a unit of Noblars, and a Gorger Moorpack. He had a Bloodbelt Hunter, a reinforced unit of Iron Guts, a reinforced unit of Ogre Gluttons, and then a Scourge of Garan Iron Blaster. So pretty cool. Now, again, uniquely, there are some other people that have done okay with ogres across the globe, but right now, the monster truck list that we saw doing so well at the beginning of the year doesn't seem to be quite as effective as it was, maybe because other stuff is able to do so well, but Carson is able to still continuously do so well with this. And he does have a YouTube channel, you can go check it out. Then we have Christian Robson running a list called Shaw, which was an Iron Jaws Iron Fist list with Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy, with Kragnos, more Granite Gougers, Drak, 2 units of Weird Brute Wreckers, a Mega Boss or Maw Crusher, a reinforced unit of Weird Brute Wreckers, and a War Chanter. So just 1, 2, 3 massive monsters, and then a bunch of Weird Brute Wreckers smashing face. Double Cabbage and Kragnos, full send is a crazy list. Well done to him. That's a great result. Matt Chiba was running a list called Korn, the Missing Data Sheet, a 1600 story. I don't know what this means, but for some reason he was only running 1,690 points of army. He's running a Baleful Lords. Oh, because he was running the Korn Army of Renown, the Baleful Lords, where you can't take any more Bloodthirsters because they don't fit in the list. So he just took 310 points less than he should. He was running Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy, Scarbrand, a Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, a Bloodthirster Insensate Rage, a Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, and he went 4-1. That's so amazing. That's amazing. It's just straight up. Yeah, incredible moments from Matt. Matt, you're winning Hero of the Week. That's correct. That's amazing. And if you don't know, the Korn Army of Renown, again, like I said, it's based around Bloodthirsters. The Bloodthirsters aren't cheap enough yet where you can take more of the extra one. Incredible. Michael McCullen was running a list called 99 Dwarf Balloons, which is Courage and Overlords, Pioneers, and Scavengers list called with Intercept and Recover and Scouting Force. He had a Null Chemist, 4 units of Volgrim Salvagers, unit of Sky Wardens, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reinforced Vongrim Harpoon crew and 1 small Vongrim Harpoon crew, which I think might make it close to 99 red balloons or dwarf balloons. Again, this really showcases just how cheap some of these units are, and they probably need a points increase, although obviously that's incredible. No boats, just balloons, full send. Incredible scenes. And then Nicholas Schumanner was running a list called Blah, Slaves to Darkness, God's Wrath Warband, with Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy. He had a Braxia, unit of Varangard, 2 units of Varangard, so that 1 unit of Varangard was reinforced, sorry. And then Gunnerbrand, Dark Earth Marauders, and the Oath Swornkin, so like Gunnerbrand's little group of units. So again, a Braxia, reinforced unit of Varangard, 2 small units of Varangard, and then just full send is still doing numbers. And then John Zoshak was running a list called Rat Lab Prototype M3000, which was a Skaven Gathering of the Clans list with Scourging Gran, the Soggy Greyseer and Screaming Bell, a unit of Acolyte Globadiers, 2 reinforced units of Rat Ogres, and a Scourging Gran Brood Terror. Then a Plague Priest on Plague Furnace, and 3 reinforced units of Plague Monks. Now, Rat Ogres are featured very heavily, but Plague Monks have not necessarily. This is quite interesting. The Skaven book at this stage is a success story very similar to Soulblight Gravelords. If there was 2 books which were the success stories of Age of Sigmar, those would be them. In that you can take lots of different types of units. For instance, we've seen none of the soggy brood terrors here, which are very popular. We haven't seen, a lot of those elements which we haven't necessarily seen, but this is still very good. So congratulations to John. I hope you had, to John, had a great time. And I hope everyone at this Canadian event had a wonderful time. Our next event takes us to Illinois in the United States, where Carlos Munoz organized the event for 50 people, or 50-ish people, for the Windy City WAAAGH, the WCW, the Windy City WAAAGH. Now, they've got 2 5-0s from this event. Rich Collis with Idneth Deepkin and Corey O'Keefe with Cities of Sigmar. Nice to see Idneth Deepkin, actually. He was running a list called the Human Cannibal Unionized, so now we can't even fire him. No, that was Corey. Sorry. Rich was running. That's a great title, though. That's a great title. Anyway, Rich Collis was running a list called the Namati Beach Party, which was a Idneth Deepkin list with the Ishran Council battle formation, Scouting Force, and Master of the Paths. He had an Ishran Tidecaster, an Ishran Soul Render, 2 units of Namati Thralls, Lotan, and 2 Alapexes and a Leviathan, and Thrall Master, a unit of Reavers, and a unit of Thralls. Now, I'm very surprised to see this do well. I don't really overly rate the Thralls in any capacity as a combat unit. The 2 Alapexes, I think, are decent. They're very, very effective. I don't know if they can make up for the rest of the list, but it's a lot of bodies on the board ultimately, and he's definitely done the support in having the Tidecaster and Soul Render do its job. So congratulations to Rich. This is a surprisingly amazing list. So that's excellent. Then we got Corey O'Keefe with the list that I said, the Human Cannibal Unionized, so now we can't even fire him, which was a Cities of Sigmar veteran Cannoneers list with everything I assume you could imagine, Cannons, Cavaliers, etc. Going into 4-1 section, we have another Cities of Sigmar list run by Kevin Engel called Shoot to Thrill, which is a veteran Cannoneers list with everything you could expect. Then Zach Lamb was running a list called, I'm worried that some people think Sigval can't change, but he's not a piece of shit. He used to be Sigval can change, let Glutos hold the baby, which was a Hedonized of Sinesh Invaders list running the Master of the Paths and Wrathful Cycles. Sigvald, 2 units of Blitzbob Seekers, a unit of Slickblade Seekers, Glutos, 2 units of Twin Souls, the Infernal Rapturous, Herald Sinesh, and then that's it. That's the list. Very surprising to see, not very surprising to see Sigvald in there. Glutos, I think, is probably the best scroll in the book. The Twin Souls also very decent as well, are holding the line. So that's fun. It's very cool. Jake was running a list called WCW, which was, I assume, is his practice for the WCW event. Oh, no, this event, actually, the Windy City WAAAGH. Okay, so he was running OCR Bone Reaper, so it's nice to see them. They've been very much missing from the results. He's running a Scouting Force, Intercept and Recover, and he's running Mortis and Council. Catacross, Leech Cavalos, 3 units of Mortek Guard, a Mortis and Soul Mason, some Necropolis Stalkers, Vought Martian, and a unit of Necropolis Stalkers. So that is cool. Now, Mortek Guard do not normally make it into the list overly much, but it's great to see them on those front lines. John Bilo was running a list called Rat Mayhem, which is a Warcog Convocation Skaven list with a Soggy Greystone and Screaming Bell, a unit of Acolyte Globadiers, some Doom Flayers, some Storm Vermin, an Arch Warlock, a Doom Wheel, some Warp Vault Scourgers, a Grey Seer, some Plague Monks, and some Rat Ogres. So again, like I said earlier, Skaven have got such a wide roster, so now we're seeing Doom Wheels in the mix, Warp Vault Scourgers in the mix, still seeing Rat Ogres, they're very popular. The Globadiers is interesting, the Doom Flayers. So John's written a very wide, very like disparate list and is able to bring all those pieces together for a 4-1, which is great. You got George Coe running a list called Man Will Never Be Free Until the Last King is Strangled with the Entrails of the Last Priest. Okay. So that's from Diderot. So he was running a Magican of Nurgle list with the Taliban of Nurgle. He was running Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy with the Glotkin, a unit of Plague, 2 units of Plague Bearers, Harbinger Decay, the Rotmire Creed, Harbinger Decay, Scourging Ground Rotigus, Sporksbox Scrivener, and then Godsmark Ascendant. So he's brought the Demon Prince as well. So Nurgle, great result for Nurgle as well, who've been really missing from the results in addition. And also not bringing, having the Rotigus, the 2 big monsters, Glotkin and Rotigus together, limited numbers of, no none of the normal units you would see. Plague Bearers you don't normally see either. Rotmire Creed, very interesting. So, and then that Demon Prince, that's a great result with a very out there list, very unique. So he should be really proud of himself. And then Trevor was running a list called I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. I chimed in with... And so then he's running Nighthaunt Vanishing Phantasms with Reichnaw the Grimhailer, Reinforced Unit of Bladegeist Revenants, the Soggy Black Coach, who, interestingly, has not had an update along with the Nighthaunt Battle Tome. So now the Scorching Ground Black Coach, as a tournament organizer this weekend, I had to make a decision on whether or not I was going to allow to change the stats, because in the Scorching Ground version it has a 4-up armor save and a 6-up ward save, but in the new Battle Tome it's got a 5-up armor save, 5-up ward save. So got to make a decision, and Games Workshop have not updated it yet, so I was just like, you got to go with what currently the soggy version is, which seemed like the right call. It's not on me to just randomly change what the stats on some units are. But there's something worth noting. I wonder what other TOs are doing. Then anyway, a Krulgas Cruciator, a Craven Throne Guard, some Dreadscythe Harridans, then a Guardian Souls, and a reinforced unit of Grimgas Reapers. Great. And this will be the new book? I'm going to say yes? No. Can't be. It's got to be the old book. Okay, this is the old book. Okay. I saw the new book play this weekend. Wasn't super impressed, to be honest. Anyway, that's everything that happened at the Windy City WAAAGH. I hope they had a great time. Special congratulations to Rich and Corey for the great results. Our next event takes us to Spain for La Voz Open 2025, organized by Zandre Ramos. Okay, so we have in first place, we have Blades of Corn, played by Miguel Benito. And he was running the Corn AOR, the Gore Chosen Champions, the Multi Lord of Corn, Blood Secretor, and everything you could expect. A big congratulations to him. I would assume this is pre the FAQ, because some of these bigger events, they prefer to have their lists in earlier. I told everyone to change their list. So, but congratulations to Miguel. So then in the 4-1 section, we have Kiko Fernandez running a list called Asesinos de los Patanos de Gran. Nailed it. Which is a Cruel Boys Uruk Warclans list with Master of the Paths of Wrathful Cycles and a Breaker Boss of My Brute Troggoth, which, by the way, I saw that this weekend as a model. Like, obviously I've seen it before multiple times, but I just took the time to appreciate it, and it's an amazing model. Like, legit great. Anyway, with a Beastgill Killbow, Reinforced Unit Gut Rippers, Hobgrot Slitters and Monster Killers, and a Swamp Caller Shaman with Potgrot, Scorchy Garan, Swamp Boss, Scumdrek, and then some Gut Rippers that were reinforced as well, Mosh Crawler, Slogoth, and Monster Killers, Swamp Caller Shaman, and the Soggy Killer Boss and Great Gnashtooth. My answer to fixing Cruel Boys, because I think it needs a little fix, is a small points increase. That's it. Nothing else I think overly needs changing about the army. Then Mario Martinez Jimmy-Jack was running a list called Lugo, which was a Soulblight Gravelords Bacchanal of Blood list with Scouting Force and Master Pass. He had Vordry, 2 Reinforced Unit of Blood Knights, 2 Deathrock Skeletons, and a Vampire Lord and Nightmare Steed, and 2 units of Vargheists. So very cool to see. Now, Vordry has been excellent since he's been released, as have the Blood Knights, Vampire Lord and Nightmare Steed as well. This is a very functional army, which is hard to go 5-0, but fights around the mid-tables really well, and getting a 4-1 result is great. Carlos Ferreira Manuta was running a list called Lumi version 5.0, which was a Lumineth Realm Lords of Venari Battle Host army with Restless Energy and Master of the Paths. He had Eleanor and Elitha, a Spirit of the Wind Hurricane, and then a Soggy Light of Altharian, Reinforced Unit Sentinels, the Blade Lords, Enlightener, Blade Lords, and then some River Blades. As I said, or mainly as we saw last week, right now LRL are absolutely in the ascendancy, and if everything gets nerfed down a little bit, I would expect LRL to be the front runner for one of the strong armies post the Battle Scroll next month, or this month, I guess, actually. Then Andres Immortal was running a list called Storm North, which was a Stormcast Eternals Thunderhead host list with Taunus, a Reinforced Unit of Reclusians, a unit of Vanguard Paladors with Starstrike Javelins, Guard of Steel Soul, Reinforced Unit of Annihilators with Meteoric Grandhammers, Knight Arcanum, some Vigilers, a Lord Imperatant, some Vigilers, and a Stormreach Portal. I gotta say, I feel like Stormcast are actually in an amazing place right now. I played with them this weekend as a spare player for a little bit. Being able to move around the board via teleports, is so good for tactics and also so good on many battle plans, which have a lot of objectives on the board. Surprising to see them not play as much as we... They're still the most played army in the game, but they're not necessarily having the most obvious direct path to victory, which I think is a little bit surprising. Then we've got Alvaro Barbulas running a list called 40k Fanboy, which is a character and overlords list with Master of Battle Restless Energy, with Brock Grungson, an Arcanaut Figurate, an Arcanaut Ironclad, Engine Master with Engine Harness, and a Gunshot Gun Hauler, then an Admiral, an Arcanaut Company, and 2 units of Skywardens. Like I said, KO are great right now. Very, very good. And then we had Gregorio Rodriguez Sanchez with a Krazox Grunter Stampede with Instant Recover Restless Energy, with a Tusk Boss on More Grunter, 4 Gore Grunter units, a Tusk Boss on More Grunter, a Reinforced unit of Gore Grunters, and then more Grunter Gougers and more Grunter with Hacking Crew. So a lot of combat in a game that is very combat orientated right now, or at least is combat orientated enough. And it's amazing to see this go 4-1, especially with like no shooting. So amazing result. I hope everyone in Spain had a great time. What a wonderful community. Let's look at the next event. Next up, we're going to France. Bonjour. For the Clash of the Drak 2. I'm not sure what the Drak is, actually. Anyway, it's organized by Tomas Macos, and I do not know where it is. It's in Nouvelle Aquitaine in France. I tried to find this place, but I couldn't find it. Best I could end up was here, which is not correct. Anyway, let's go look at the event results, shall we? Because we did have 30 people battling out in France for this event. In first place, we had Xavier Patou with Carriage and Overlords. And at this stage, I think it's fair to say they might be a little bit good. They were running Carriage and Overlords, Engineers Guild Expeditionary Force. And as you can see, a bunch of everything. KO probably need looking at, I'm afraid. Adrien Dusson was running a list called La Attaque de Garin with a tree, little tree emoji, which is a Sylvaneth Wargrove of Burgeoning list. Shout out to all my Sylvaneth fans. With Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy. With a Warsong Rev, Reinforced unit of Kurnoth Hunters with Kurnoth Scythes. Scorchy Grand Revenant Seekers that was reinforced as well. It's great to see. Spike Revs, Brecht Witch, the Soggy Drycher, and Belthanos as well. Now, I personally think Sylvaneth is like a 3-2-4-1 army at the minute. Very playable, lots of tools. The new Soggy Drycher is actually quite effective and very good. You got to try really hard, and it very plays an evasive playstyle, but you can do some really fun stuff with it. And also great to see Sylvaneth in there. Alexandre Sans was running a list called Skaven, running Restless Energy and Scouting Force in a Claw Horde army. He was running Visit Scour, a Reinforced unit of Clan Rats, a Plague Pack, and a Reinforced unit of Storm Fiends, which actually is quite unique at the moment. Normally that would be 2 units of Rat Ogres instead. Then a Soggy Greysail and Screaming Bell, 2 units of Clan Rats, and a Claw Lord. And again, Vizic in here as well. We haven't seen Vizic often outside of more like heavy combat forced, combat orientated armies. So that's good to see. And that's genuinely a great result from Alexandra Sans. Then Rudy MSG was running a list called, the list was called Kibi Tawny Drak, which is a trophy finger list with the Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy, with Kragnos, Killer Boss and Corpse Ripper Vulture, 3 Manscure Bolt Boys and 10 Gut Rippers, and then a Swampcaller Shaman Potgrot, 3 Manscure Bolt Boys, 10 Gut Rippers, the Soggy Killer Boss and Great Gnashtooth, 7 Monster Killers, Breaker Boss and Mybrute Troggoth, and 3 Manscure Bolt Boys. Very cool. And lastly, Adam Formont was running a Cruel Boys list, which is again Swamp Horde Bullies, Kragnos, with 50 Gut Rippers, a Breaker Boss and Mybrute Troggoth, and a Murknob Belcher banner. That's a lot of wounds. They get a 6-up ward save from the Murknob Belcher banner. If you remember, shout out to Oliver for that. So, great result there. Again, KO, but we'll just ignore KO for the moment. Cruel Boys floating around that 4-1 section. Sylvaneth actually getting a look in. Skaven seeing play. That's nice. That's genuinely good to see. But yeah, I think this week we can definitely put it down to KO being very, very good. Our next event takes us to the Netherlands for an event organized by Barry Riddenhoff. And the event was located in Amsterdam at what looks like a fantastic pub. This has got so much of my English, although obviously English via all of the invasions and conquest blood, pumping. as you can see here. Look at this. It's a great little location. Okay, so this event was 30 people battling it out. And in first place was, unfortunately, on a 4 and a draw, again, Kharadron Overlords, run by Hank. Shout out to Hank, running Pioneers and Scavengers. No point reading through it at this point. Congratulations to you. That's a great result. Then Mias Baba was running a list called Hey Ho, Let's Go, Shoot them in the back now. What they want, I don't know. They're all revved up and ready to go. It's another KO list. I'm unfortunately going to let everyone know. Then Michael Jacobs was running a list called Krasog's Wild Hoggly Woggly All You Can Smash Grunter Barbecue Buffet, which was a Krasog's Grunter Stampede, sorry. And I'd like to let you know that that's the second one we've seen this week. Krasog's Grunter Stampede for the win. It's absolutely fantastic. So you've got Tusk Boss or more Grunter, 4 units of Gore Grunters, one of which is reinforced. We might be seeing a Big Pig Autumn. That's correct. We've got a Tusk Boss or more Grunter, unit Gore Grunters, more Grunter Gougers, and a more Grunter with a hacking crew. So they're back. Who would have thought we would be going into a Big Pig summer? We might even get Big Pig points reductions in the Battle Scroll update. Get your Big Pigs in now. And then Luc de Grand Cham was running again Kharadron Overlords. So if we just take a moment to look, we had 1, 2, 3 Kharadron Overlords in the 4150 section with only Iron Jaw's army surviving to get into the 41 section as well. Probably need to do something about the army at this point. Our next event takes us to New Zealand. Lovely to see the New Zealand community putting an event on. For the Age of Sigmar at Call to Arms 2025, we've got 26 people battling it out. Yeah. Taking place in Wellington. So if you ever get the chance to go play some Warhammer over there, I think it was held around here, St. Patrick's College, but let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Anyway, in first place, we have Greg Greenfield with Nighthorn, our only undefeated player, with a list called All Good Things Come to an End, which was because I think he was playing the old Nighthorn book, not the new Nighthorn book. So congratulations to him, but we won't go through the list because obviously it's changed. Alexander Sinclair was running a Sylvaneth Lords of the Clan list with Inceptor Uncover and Restless Energy, with Belthanos, Alariel, 5 Gossamer Archers, Spirit of Durthu, 6 Hunters with Kurnoth Sides, and a Branch Witch. And like I've said before, I think Sylvaneth have got some real play. If you want to make the effort to do it, they're definitely there. TFC was on a list called Biggest Rat is Best Rat, which was a Skaven Clawhorde list with Inceptor Recover and Restless Energy, with Screech Vermin King, 2 units of Clan Rats, Deathmaster, a Soggy Greystone Screaming Bell, a Verminlord Deceiver, and a Warbringer. Wow, it's fantastic. 3 of the large Rat Kings and a Greystone Screaming Bell. That's brilliant. That's very cool to see. That was a little in vogue at one point during the edition, but I haven't seen it since then, so that's very cool. Thomas Orr was running a list called My Path to Glory Dreams Came True, which was a Core Chosen Champions list with, as you can imagine, the unnerfed Khorne AOR, only going 4-1. So it's worth pointing out. And then Phil Meztinak was running a list called CTA 2025, which was a Taliban of Nurgle list with Master Paths and Inceptor Cover. He had the Soggy Rotigus, 2 units of Plague Bearers, Sloppy Bar Piper, Morbid X Twice Spawn, Reinforced Unit of Nurglings, Harvard Decay, Gotrot Spume, Rotmire Creed, and then the Demon Prince from the Regiment of Renown. Again, Nurgle. This is the 3rd time we've seen Nurgle, but Nurgle also being different lists. Although Rotigus featuring heavily, which I think is important to point out, but some of the larger models, and people moving away from taking lots of Blight Kings, or maybe we just haven't seen them this week. Our next event is called Blood and Violence, a 2-day GT that happens in Ontario, Canada, organized by Dominique Hello. So thank you very much for doing so. It's had 20-ish players. I'm going to say 23 players battling it out. First place, we had Connor with Kharadron Overlords. Lots of love to Connor. That's an amazing job with a list called Kharadron V1. He didn't even need to write V2. He didn't even need the V2 list. The V1 list was good enough to go 5-0. I'm not going through it. Congratulations. Steven Straub was running a list called Cannon All Day, Cities of Sigmar. I assume you know what's in it. Loads of cannons, etc. Then we have Kevin Wardrop running a list called MILFs, Man I Love Fighty Spectres, which is with love heart and also ghost emojis, which was a Nighthorn Deathstalkers list. This would have been the old book, so we're not going to go through it. So well done to Kevin. And then Mitch Kawa was running a Skaven list with a Fleshmill Menagerie. with Wrathful Cycles and Restless Energy, with the Soggy Screaming Bell, 4 Brood Terrors, the Soggy versions, Plague Priest on Plague Furnace, Greystail on Rat Ogres. Amazing. Yes, great event, clearly. Looks like it was super fun. The usual suspects at this point making it a little less exciting, but I'm sure everyone there had an amazing time. Our next event takes us to Sweden for the Lords of Mount 10, a regular yearly event organized by the beautiful and fantastic Eric. Shout out to Eric at Uppsala Wargaming. So we've only got 150, and it's Flesh Eater Courts. Thank you to the Swedish for making things interesting, at least. He was running Restless Energy in a Tune to Garan, and he was running Ushran, a unit of Crypt Horrors, a unit of 6 Morbeg Knights, a unit of 3 Morbeg Knights, a Royal Decapitator, 2 units of 10 Crypt Guard, the Abhorrent Cardinal, and then the Soggy Abhorrent Gore Warden, the Vargov Courtier, and that was the list. This looks like it's a new book, which was very, very popular. I think it's going to continue to be very popular as well, because there are so many different builds in that book. I think it's going to pop off over the next few weeks. So congratulations to Christian, who's also an amazing player and continues to be great. Ronya, the Night Queen Anderson, was running Cities of Sigmar with the Veteran Cannoneers, everything you can expect, Master of the Paths, Restless Energy. Congratulations to her. Then Marcus Engelblom was running Lumineth Realm Lords. Told you, we're going to start seeing it, with Restless Energy and Incept and Recover. He was running the Cenari Council with Eleanor Elathor, the Soggy Light of Altharian, some Blade Lords that were reinforced, and some other Blade Lords, and then an Enlightener, Cathalar, Severith, Callus and Toll. Also, there's that Regiment Renown, super effective. So congratulations to him. And then Giverdeld, wonderful person, Blades of Corn, running the Gore Tide with Incept and Cover and Wrathful Cycles. With a, now this was the non-corner AOR. So Blood Secretor, 2 units of Blood Reavers, Rumgore Ritualist, 3 units of Reinforced Blood Warriors. It's crazy to see. They're both the hammer and the anvil in the army. They probably should have made Blood Warriors more defensive and made like Skull Reapers more fighty, but they never did that. So now just it's Blood Warriors all the way down. Then Slaughter Priest and 3 units of Blood Reavers. Congratulations to Gia as well. Also to everyone who attends this event. I know it's wonderful. I know the TO puts so much effort into making this good, and I hope to see it continue year in, year out. Our next event takes us to England, to my GT. The Honest Wargamer GT. They're actually called the Realmgate Rebellions. We had 20 players battling it out, which was fun. Phil, with Carriage and Overlords, won the event of the Mighty Redeployers. He was running the Magnate's Crew, which is the Army of Renown. And he was running Brock, and he was running, importantly, 30 Balloon Boys. And the reason he was doing that is because it was Phil's 30th birthday. Here you can see Phil winning an event on his 30th birthday with 30 Balloon Boys in the Army of Renown. I think that's pretty funny. Here you can see he's also a wonderful army that got a lot of love as well. So that was fun to see. So I hope he had a great time. He's a wonderful dude and he deserves it. Tom, also great human being. He was also running Carriage and Overlords, and they had a KO mirror match where I've never heard 2 people laughing so much. They had a great time. Shout out to Tom, also running KO. At this point, we don't need to read out any more KO lists out. That was great. And then also a massive shout out to Dean with Flesh Eater Courts. There was 3 Flesh Eater Courts players at the event this weekend. A lot of people very, very excited with the big Monster Mash Khorne army. I saw Colm running it, saw Damien running it, throwing it at people. They had a great time. TSN's pretty much always at the cutting edge because I do events so regularly and I always use the latest FAQs and updates. So generally we tend to see like the newest, freshest stuff. So it was fun. And Dean also had really fun Crypt Horrors that were made out of the Ogre, the Ogre unit, I've forgotten their name right now. One of those names, something, I can't remember. The Ogre, the Gorgeous, thank you. The Ogre Gorgeous. And it's arguable they looked gorgeous. Thanks very much. Anyway, he was running Flesh Eater Courts in the Nightly Echelon. He had Scouting Force for Restless Energy with Ushran, unit Crypt Flares, 2 reinforced unit Crypt Horrors, and then Morbeg Knights and Abhorrent Cardinal, the Crypt Guard, and Royal Beast Flares, and then the soggy Boron Gore Warden, which he definitely said was very fantastic. So also shout out to Joe Jackson, Tom Whitbrook, all doing well. Lord Commander, Greg Taylor. We also had Orpheus and Natty playing, both of whom are like 14 years old or something. So bless their little hearts. And then I just want to shout out Francois' list. Because Francois, it was his first GT here, and he wrote a list called Dreicher's Moving Castle. Rob, on behalf of Sylvaneth players, please make the stats screen smaller when we can see our stats. Thanks. So apparently when I do the stat show, and my big head is in the way of where Sylvaneth stats sometimes go. So he wrote a note and then attended a GT just to tell me. You can just leave a YouTube comment, but that's a successful way of doing it. Anyway, I had a wonderful experience. If you ever want to come to one of my events here in England, you go to the tsnarena.com. I have an Age of Sigmar event at least once a month. I'd love you to come and have a great time. Our next event takes us to the Philippines. The Philippines, where 16 players battling out at the Terminus Still ATB AOS GT, organized by Yale Algulto in Quezon City in the Philippines. So, in first place, Miguel Eagle Aguila of the Black Komodos with Skaven won the event. Oh, sorry, no, that's wrong. With the Battle Tactics cards, Restless Energy, and Scouting Force. He had the General's Regiment with the Soggy Garan Greyseer on Screaming Bell. And then he had Night Runners, Rat Ogres, Rattling Guns, all of which are reinforced. And then the Soggy Brood Terror. Then a Plague Priest on Plague Furnace and 3 units of Plague Monks. So it's great to see. Then we had Lance Martin. We love Lance. He's great. With a list called Games Workshop, Please Fix Baleful Lords. With a Brass Stampede, Incept to Recover Master Pass, Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster, Bloodthirster and Sense of Rage, Bloodthirster and Sense of Rage, Bloodletters that reinforce Fleshhounds, Slaughter Priest, Blood Reavers, and Claws of Karanak. Obviously a reference to that Khorne Army of Renown, but that's still a great result. 4-1. Joseph Gary was running a list called Wood Elf Wanderers, which is a Lumith Realm Lords Venari Battle Host list. Please nerf. With Eleanor and Elithor, a Hurricane Spirit of the Wind, the Scourging Garan Light of Altharion, the Orlan Sentinels, and then the Blade Lords, and then the Cenarian Lightner, the Orlan Wardens, and the Blade Lords that were reinforced as well. So again, LRL on the rise. And finally, Dennis David was running a list called Arise Now Ye Tarnished, or the GT where I play my dusty models, which is a Magikin of Nurgle, Taliband of Nurgle list. 4th time now, Nurgle on the rise, running Restless Energy, Incept and Recover with the Soggy Rotigus, Tunes of Plague Bearers and Sloppy Bar Piper, Gutrod Spear, Rotmire Creed, wow, Harbinger Decay, Horticulate Slimmux, Tunes of Beast and Nurgle, and Nurglings, and then the Godsmark Demon Prince. 2nd time we've seen Plague Bearers make it onto the table. We've seen Beasts of Nurgle as well. Fantastic result from Dennis, and great to see the Filipino community in Quezon still doing great. I hope to see these events go from strength to strength. It's a wonderful community. Our last event takes us to Austria for a big GT for their community, which is great to see. We have 15 players battling out, organized by Gottfried Frasler and Manuel Schlupper. And they were running the Glitzer GT #1. We also have some video from the event. There you go. This is what it's like to play Warhammer in Austria. So shout out to everyone there. Hope they had a great time. So if we go look at the event results, we can see that we have LRL. Oh my God, the up-and-comers with the 5-0. So then we've got Benjamin Salomon running Lumith Realm Lords in the Cenari Council with Severith, Eleanor and Elithor, and a Hurricane Spirit of the Wind, a Cathalar, an Enlightener, 2 reinforced units of Blade Lords, Scourging Garan, the soggy version of Light of Altharion, and the Shrine Luminor. Very effective right now. And then finally, Michael Wingles was running a list called For Whom the Bell Tolls. And then running Restless Energy and Incept to Recover. This is a Skaven Fleshmel's Menagerie list with Visit Scour, Clan Rats, Rat Ogres, Warlock Bombardier, Warp Lightning Cannon, Soggy, Scourging Garan, Screaming Bell, Clan Rats, Rat Ogres, and the Brood Terror in the list. And that takes us to the end of this weekend. I think it's fair to say, Kharadron Overlords dominated this week to a point where a lot of people will be gnashing their teeth and be a little bit mad. And that is very fair. We are not far away from Games Workshop's Battle Scroll update. So I'm very much hoping we'll see definitely the sword drop, the hammer drop on those little dwarfen fellas. I also think it's fair to say that Cities of Sigmar also need reining in as well. I did cover these on some of the stat shows recently, and I think that does start to still a bit disappointing because until those book releases, literally only a few weeks ago, we did a series of event results where there were like 15 different factions, all that ended up getting like 5-0s. So it's a little bit just like sad to see that like they got very close and then they just turned the apple cart up, which is sad. And now I'm not someone who really talks about power creep, so I don't think power creep is really a thing. They'll write good battle tomes and they'll write bad battle tomes. But I am very happy that we do get regular updates because I think this is not necessarily the Age of Sigmar that people will be excited to play. Or at least they'll be a little bit concerned because going to an event in the next couple of weeks, you're going to have to be looking at KO kicking your face in. So something to think about if you're a tournament organizer. I'm really hoping that we'll see the Battle Scroll update. I have an event at the end of September. I'm hoping we see a Battle Scroll update before then, which I think will be really nice. And I think will set the game in place. And we also have the exciting Chaos Dwarfs book on release sometime soon. Review coming from me soon as well. So those are exciting things to talk about. Also worth noting again that this has been a very busy week for Age of Sigmar. Very popular. The game is popping. People are playing. So that's good to see as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you as always to Warhammer Rob and also everyone in the Twitch chat hanging out with me. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'll see you guys soon.